We're all set for live over here.
Okay. I'm just checking to see if Joel checked through that. No. All right. Being that it's 7:02, I'm going to call the town board meeting to order. The fire exits are outside in the hall, at either end of the hall. There is a defibrillator across the hall if one is needed. We're going to stand for the pledge of allegiance to the flag and a moment of silence for all deceased residents of Hamlin. And we're also going to pray for Carol Meyer, the wife of one of our former supervisors.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Invocation of John Evelyn from Hamlin New Testament Church.
Thank you. So I was thinking yesterday about this, and 1 Peter 2:13 through 14 says, "Therefore submit yourselves to every ordinance from man for the Lord's sake, whether to the king is supreme or to governors, as those who are sent by him for the punishment of evildoers and for the praise of those who do good." And Tip O'Neill used to say that all government is local. And you guys are our local government. You're the one that's governing things that happen about these things in our town, our community. And you probably do a better job of trying to watch out for us than we do responding to you when you tell us we've got to do something different, right? So I'm sorry. Sometimes we push back a little bit too hard against you guys, but not me, because I've never done anything wrong. But it's true. And I just want to, I don't know you guys personally, but I've known a lot of you for a long time. Been pastoring the church since '82, so it's been a little while, a minute or two. And you guys have served well, and the other governors before you, so to speak, have served well. So I appreciate what you do, and I appreciate the fact that you're just trying to do the best for us. And sometimes that's hard. So Father, I thank you for this team of governors that govern our community and our town. And I'm grateful that our local government is something that we can joyfully listen to, and that hard word that nobody likes, we can even obey the laws and the rules. And if they're unjust or unfair, this team will change them. So Father, I pray that you bless them in everything they do. Bless their preparations as they come to these meetings. Bless their decision making as they make some of those hard decisions. And give them joy as they do it. And I pray that more and more our community would be thankful and grateful and appreciative, not just come when there's issues and problems, but recognize that we're blessed to have a team that serves us so well. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Receiving the roll call.
Okay,
Well, we got it.
yeah, well, I'll start with Hurlbut.
Here.
Mel, here. Jaeger.
Daphne.
Both. Here.
Here. All right, we're going to skip down to, well, no, let's do public forum, I'm sorry. Is there anybody out there who would like to talk or say anything to the public? Go ahead. You gotta get up, state your name, and hopefully we're just 3 minutes or less or whatever.
3 minutes?
Look, we've gone longer.
Timmy, Renner, from the 4th to 1835. That happened. They're just, you got motorcycles, hundreds. Can we do something? I know the sheriff won't give you about putting up one of those speed signs that takes pictures? Your town can make money. If the thruway can take a picture of a car going 70, and I'm sure the state, county would support, put it in front of the ambulance, take the picture, charge them $10, $20, slow them down.
I know there's a problem, we have talked to the sheriff about it, but I have never heard anybody say anything about putting a speed camera or whatever in town, so we will look into that.
Well, they'll probably pay for it.
Like I said, I don't know who pays for it or whatever, but we can definitely look into it, see how legal it is and all that stuff. I have never heard anybody talk about it. Yep, especially the motorcycles.
2 out of 20 do 35. Just, now you got schools out. It's crazy.
No, we can give the sheriff another call and just let them know there's a problem. And like I said, we can look into the the cameras, the speed cameras.
Then just,
Even the signs that flash,
We can look into that.
Right.
The town of Parma has one that the town of Hammond has borrowed before, the flat signs, the flat speed limit. They have let us borrow it before.
take their picture.
Well, we don't have the camera, so we gotta check into,
Well, they have them.
yeah.
Send them a bill. Your town will make money. And make it safe.
Yep. No, I agree. We will, like I said, we will check into that then. We'll look into that and see what we can do about it. It's a good suggestion.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna say thanks for, coming in and not only talking about a problem, but offering a suggestion, because oftentimes it just stops at like, here's the problem, but thanks for.
The state, county, probably will support it.
We can find out. Like I said, we'll look into it. Thank you.
thank you.
All right, we're gonna skip to the presentation by New York Power Authority and Star White House on plans on rehabilitating or whatever you want to call it, Scout Park.
Great. Thank you very much, and appreciate everybody, inviting us here and welcoming us here. My name is Chris Anderson. I'm a landscape architect and associate with our White House Landscape Architect, and I'm coming from Hudson, New York, about 4 hours east in the Hudson Valley, and here with me.
I'm Jay Pokenis. I'm part of the Power Authority with Reimagined Canals program that we have going on across the state. Our goal is to put a lot of projects out, get them built by the anniversary of 2025. And this has been identified as one of those projects, and we're hoping to have things moving and designed, and next summer, construction, and hopefully by the fall it'll be all built.
So I'm not sure how familiar all of you are with kind of the general Reimagined Canals and specifically their involvement with Hamlin. But, this Scout Park was identified as one of these project areas. And we're very excited to be working on it. I just actually visited just a few hours ago with Jay for the first time. It's always great to see the site after you've been looking at it on Google Earth for a few months. So I want to say it's really exciting. It's a beautiful 5-acre piece of land, and we don't want to do anything crazy to it. We just want to help it be the best version of what you all want it to be. So that's why I'm here, and just introduce the project, and then we'll hopefully be coming back in about a month or so, maybe to the Junk Jamboree, to have a concept to share with the community, ask for feedback, and just sort of gauge everyone's opinion of what we're thinking. There's a larger team sort of that's working on this project with me, with Star White House. We have a couple, Central New York firms for surveying and engineering here with Prudent and CDM Smith. We have an environmental engineer to make sure we're doing our due diligence with the wetland delineation and, high water levels, and just making sure we're being responsible in that regard. And also someone who can consult on some signage or graphic design should we want to maybe suggest, some sort of signage, for the park, to tell people about it, or even just to sort of announce it from the road. So like Jay was talking about, this is sort of our general idea for the schedule, and you can see we're there at the beginning on the left with we're sort of taking a look at the existing conditions. We're going to have a survey crew out there in the next few weeks, and also gathering community input. And then we're just going to sort of work through these steps, and there's a couple points at which you all in the town of Hamlin will be given the opportunity to review our progress, sign off on it, make sure that we're all in agreement and that everybody's comfortable with what we're proposing. So that'll happen there at that second step, the facility plan report and concept plan refinement, where you will get basically a narrative summary of what the proposal, what the design is, as well as a plan rendering of it to take a look at. And then you'll also get a chance to take a look as we've actually developed the construction documentation, the bid document, partially of the way through that process, and then when we're really kind of getting down to the nuts and bolts of things, you'll get a chance to take a look at it. And then, of course, as Jay talked about, this is going out to bid, mid to fall of next year, and then construction, hopefully as soon as possible. These dates, obviously, aren't, set in stone, but this is kind of the idea what we would hope to have happen. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but just to sort of talk about how we're approaching this. The park is right now, as far as I understand it, it's a really popular fishing spot. There's a maintenance yard for the town that doesn't seem to be being used at the moment. The fenced-in area with a storage shed. So really look at how there's a playground there, comfort station. But what else could happen there? What does the community want to be doing there? Again, we don't want to overfill it, but look at sort of what might be some of the great things to do in that park, even if it is just sort of an improved circulation system to allow people to move around. One priority of the project that sort of governs a lot of our decisions we're making is universal accessibility. So making sure that someone in a wheelchair, someone in a walker, someone pushing a baby stroller can access as much of the park as possible. So a lot of that obviously has to do with sort of a circulation system. Looking at the trees there, looking at the ecology, obviously right now there's quite a few dead ash trees there, as I'm sure you're all well aware. So we'd be looking at really kind of establishing the next generation of canopy trees, something that's going to do well with, looking into the future, what the climate's going to be, something that's going to be, provide a healthy ecology for the park over the next foreseeable future. As well as taking a close look at what's there along the shoreline, just if there's any invasive species that may be good to try to remove, and then introduce some more native communities. We want to be sensitive to that. Again, with supporting local community use, we just want to make sure we're reaching out to the community, making sure that they're going to enjoy the park as they do already, and then the park kind of has its own identity, and that the community members will really feel that's their park.
Correct. We don't want to get a bunch of amenities that'll never get used.
Exactly.
We build this giant play structure, but there's nobody to ever go out there because it's right here in your backyard. So that's where we want that input from.
Exactly. And obviously we don't have an infinite construction budget, so we want to be really smart with the money that we do have, to make these improvements and make it go as far as we can, and really make it, a special spot for the town of Hamlin and surrounding area. So this is just, I'm sure you're all very familiar with this, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but we've been learning about the fishing access here along Sandy Creek, familiarizing ourselves with it. We actually had a call last Friday with Wes Pearsall from DC Fisheries, Region 8 out here to learn about public fishing rights and just kind of understanding how that works here and also understanding the kind of runs that happen along. I personally am not a big fisherman, but I'd love to learn more. But that's another thing we're looking to the community to kind of tell us what they want. We certainly want to keep that, activity supported as much as we can. And it sounds like this is a very popular spot.
Yeah.
You fish in Sandy Creek?
Yeah.
Excellent. So other, looking at, and we actually, part of our environmental kind of survey engineering efforts is to understand anything else. This is coming straight from the New York State DEC environmental mapping. So we know that there's some freshwater wetlands in the area. It is flagged as potentially being habitat for rare plants or animals. This is obviously high level and part of the reason why we get the environmental people involved to make sure that we're aware of what's happening there specifically on site. Flooding as well. We know that the sort of northern corner of the park is probably the lower part of the park, and it is in the 100-year flood range, which isn't surprising considering it's on the creek. So bottom line is that we're aware of that and making sure that we're not proposing uses in that floodplain that would not be flood resilient. This is just us getting to know Hamlin. Obviously, we're right here in Town Hall, but we were just trying to quickly get an idea. I know demographics can only say so much, but it's been great to actually be here and drive around and visit the community and be here. So we did a little bit of preliminary mapping. This is the existing conditions there. We've talked about a lot of it already. I think just the slope of the 5 acres it's a really beautiful, property.
Where is it
So,
exactly? See,
I'll go back.
There's a schoolhouse road, right by Drake Road with that park is with that Quonset hut, that park right there.
Yeah, so right now we are here. Is that right?
where you're,
Yes.
And then
yeah,
you go right here. So it's just up, it's about 5 minutes away. Yeah, you can see down from the Hamlin there. Then you just go up and left on Brick Schoolhouse Road.
who owns it?
The town does.
All right, so again, you're all familiar with it, just understanding what's there. Part of the project is going to be looking at adding or improving the fishing platform that's there. I know most people fish in the creek, but again, back to that universal accessibility, there's designs for accessible fishing platforms that have a drop rail so that someone in a wheelchair can cast from there. So that would be something we'd be looking at, and definitely want to make sure we can fit into the budget, whether it's at the location of this existing platform and just expanding it and improving it, or finding a different location. Looking at the creek side, creek shoreline erosion is definitely something we want to be aware of, and that can be addressed in a lot of different ways. There's already some stone bluff there, and vegetation, and just the general condition of the path system there. The comfort station, one question I did have is, we have our engineer on the project team, and I know currently the comfort station looks like it's closed, it's got padlocks. But part of the project would be to make it, bring that structure up to code, make improvements to it. So we would need to find a time that our engineer can come actually get into that building and take a look at it. So we can talk,
Yeah.
so he doesn't have to bring his full cutter. The play structure there, like Jay was mentioning, you know, we just saw this amazing play structure you all have here. You know, we're not going to be trying to recreate that at Scout Park, but what we do with what's there, and I would think just off the bat, you know, maybe the sort of base level, improving the safety surfacing around it, you know, something that'll contain it, something that'll be actually up to code, fall heights and all that, and then we can see what we can do in terms of expanding that, bringing in some other equipment that may be universally accessible as well. And the entrance, you know, I think that something that is inviting people into the park a little bit more would be a great benefit. If there's any signage standards that the town has or that the town would be interested in, we are all ears. But something that you know would announce the park a bit more from the road. Also looking at the parking lot, I know that sometimes during the peak season it can fill up, but other times it's pretty empty. So we might look at you know, sort of both expanding and reducing it in a couple, you know, you can sort of reduce the paved surface for sort of day-to-day use, and then have sort of an overflow area that might be stabilized turf, things like that, that during, you know, 75% of the year, it's not a paved parking lot, it's empty, it can be a little greener. As well as maybe some stormwater management things like rain gardens, things that can manage the runoff from the lot. There is also, I should say, we want to be looking at one of the kind of scope of work goals was to look at the addition of a couple electric vehicle charging stations here as well.
About launch and canoes.
Yes, exactly. So that is another part of the study. In addition to the fishing platform, and I have a couple images a little bit later. We are definitely interested to hear about canoes, kayaks. You know, obviously no one's going to be driving a trailer down the creek, but park in the parking lot and portage their boat. Is that something that would be useful here? Is kayaking, canoeing a popular activity in the area? I know there's just a little bit further down the creek towards Lake Ontario, there's another fishing access spot that looks like it may be a place that people put boats into. But that's definitely part of what we want to study is it feasible here, and would it make sense with the budget and the demand? Yeah. Yeah. So like I mentioned, we're going to have a survey crew out here the next few weeks. I'd be happy to let you know once we have a firm date. Okay. And they will be sticking to the extent you see here, trying to stay close to the property line, and capturing a little bit of the far bank of Sandy Creek as well. This was just studying the slope of the park, and you know, being out there today always makes it feel a little more real. But there's definitely kind of a middle area that's a bit steeper. Preliminary, just understanding the kind of the transect down the park into the creek, as things are currently. Isn't meant to represent the creek 100% accurately, especially in terms of depth, but being there today, it does look like it's a relatively shallow area there.
Is that legally hunting area?
Is it legally what?
Hunting.
No, you can hunt across there. David Leverage's property and the farmer's property, not there.
Yeah. One thing that we sort of had learned talking with DC Fisheries is that we had thought this was technically part of the public fishing rights area, but it's not. It's just the town of Hamlin is providing people, the public, to fish along that stretch of Sandy Creek. Yeah. And then a little bit further north is where there's the public.
Yeah, starting at Church Road.
Yeah, yeah. So if there were any signage or anything that the town wanted to have, I know there isn't any there currently, but specifically relating to fishing, we'd be happy to hear that as well. Thinking about the shoreline, you know, the varying conditions that are there already, and That bottom right, thinking about ways to allow people who want to get in the creek to fish to get down there without potentially, maybe eroding the shoreline, or disturbing, planted, communities. Looked to me when I was there today, actually, the shoreline looked better than I was expecting. I guess the photos I saw were taken in late March, so it's a little more bare then. But still, you actually already have some of that sort of stone block area next to the fishing platform. So it's similar to that, getting a bit safer too, I think, to be able to step down into the creek. And then in terms of the programming, like what can happen here? Again, like Jay and I were saying, we don't want to overstuff the 5 acres, but kind of just think about things that could be happening here. So the circulation is really important, how to get people to move around the space. I know one thing that was part of, again, the scope of work, which I think came partly from conversations with the town, was a place for adult exercise equipment, or even senior, sort of all ages exercise equipment. That would be maybe closer to the parking lot, potentially improving some kids play area or nature exploration opportunities, trails. There's a couple kind of, footpaths through the shoreline there that maybe we could do something a little bit more formalized, that would allow kids to kind of explore the shoreline. I think one big idea too is that central lawn area, could it be a place for gathering performance, even if it's just, a band? I know a lot of stuff happens here in terms of, in the town's parks, but could there be an opportunity to sort of use that space for community events or just, informal gatherings? And of course, access to creeks for fishing and for,
What is it, for voting? 5 acres?
5 acres, right. So this is a couple of things I was talking about with parking. You can have areas that are reinforced turf so that when you do need that overflow, you have it. But other times of the year, it's basically lawn. How to manage stormwater, potentially through permeable pavement, bioswales, rain gardens, and then the electric vehicle charging stations are referring to. Here's the boat launch, and again, this is more than obviously just a walk into the creek, but again, trying to keep an eye to prioritize universal accessibility. These are actually designed to allow someone in a wheelchair or someone with mobility issues with a hand grip to get into a kayak or canoe and get in and out of the water. Being there, the creek's not that deep and it's not that wide. Maybe these aren't the right scale of things for the creek, but that's kind of why we're exploring it. We want feedback and if we don't have room like this, but still providing maybe an easier way to get a boat in the water if someone did bring a boat in the park. Like I was talking about for the fishing platforms, there in the upper right and the upper left, the accessible railings. I know most of the runs are in the fall and in the spring, up through early spring. But during the summer, I know there's people still are fishing in the creek.
Yeah, there's a kitchen bath out there.
Yeah, that's what we were hearing. So, I personally kind of like the one on the bottom right. Obviously, these are just a few examples. And nothing too big. I think, we're looking at something that maybe 30 to 35 feet wide versus what's there now, which I believe is closer to maybe 15 feet wide or so. Within the 5 acres. So this is kind of what I was talking about. The top 2 photos are projects that we've done in my office. That can be really simple, super durable, stone block, kind of set into the landscape that creates kind of these informal or more formal gathering spaces. Can really do a lot without even while still preserving a lot of lawn space around it. Kind of just adds another element to what can happen there. Picnic groves. I don't know if the town would be interested in encouraging barbecuing here. Sometimes there's a desire to not encourage that, but it's certainly something that we can consider along with picnic tables if people wanted to bring.
We used to have picnic tables down, but that's those cutout areas out there on some of the picnic cables anchored. We had like a 3-foot rod driven in the ground. The kids or whoever, some of them got burnt and other ones got yanked out of there. I don't know how.
So you're saying we need some really heavy metal
They need
cables?
some heavy something down there, yeah.
Okay, all right, the durable, anchored,
Sounds like steel, Chris.
yeah, okay. Well, that won't be a problem with the stone blocks, those, you need to have a serious machine with those.
Yeah, they're not gonna touch those.
Yeah. Would you be open potentially to grills, built-in grills there?
I would have talked to our attorney about it. We had thought about it earlier than people years ago. We even had some grills here and then we donated them to the Hamlin Beach State Park.
Yeah.
Because if there wasn't our attorney here, a different attorney said, no, that just opens you up for liability. People getting burnt or whatever on it, so we could exploit it and show you.
Yeah, of course. We're happy to go in any direction the town prefers.
So you mentioned that there's vandalism that's happening up there in the past.
That's why the bathrooms aren't open
That's
either.
where I was gonna go. Is that something that you would like us to pursue, is to enhance those bathrooms? Does it make sense to? You don't need to answer that now in this forum, but think about it and let us know in a week or two. Does it make sense for us to spend money on something that you'll just keep locked up anyway?
During the day, it probably would be all right. You know, it's the vandalism and you guys try to get it mostly in out.
Gotcha.
So, I don't know if there's something like automatic locking doors on the bathrooms or whether I'd have to pay somebody to go down there every night, lock it up with her. We don't have security here.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So whether there is such a thing that it's a time lock, that it locks the door at such and such a time, don't know. I mean, during the day, I don't think you'd have very much of a problem.
Yeah.
It's nice.
So the former covered stage, for the current covered stages are now, were the doors ever locked or was it open 24/7 and that's?
They used to be open, boy, it's been years they've been locked. I'm trying to think how much it used to be open. It used to be open more, but then the bathroom, the sinks would get smashed right off the wall and locked.
Yeah.
So that's when we started locking it.
Yeah.
But like I say, it was always at night.
Right.
It was not during the day. I worked in the highway for 30 years before I became supervisor. So
Yeah.
I helped build that fishing dock in the years.
Oh, really? Oh, well, actually, that's the question we have in terms of any information, the foundation looks to be in good condition. If there's any drawings that were done or,
No. That was at least 20 years or more, so we kind of had an idea and you kind of long it,
It's in pretty good shape for 20 years, 24 years. Is there a desire to keep it?
No, if you replace it with something better, that's better.
Okay, all right.
There's no sentiment of them.
Okay, sure.
Improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Go
Okay.
forward.
In previous projects that you guys have done, have you implemented any type of security features for other projects, whether it be cameras or?
Usually that's something, I'd say the closest we've come to that is when we talk about site lighting, using lighting as a safety element, and then sometimes if it's a municipal project, the municipality will be interested in adding security cameras, but that's usually something that's kind of done, not, will in parallel with us, but, I'd say the most security-minded thing we do is think about the lighting. And of course, if there was an access thing, gates and, lockable gates and fences and things like that, but I don't imagine you want to lock the whole park every night,
Plus they got a path leading back to the trailer park or the mobile home park anyway,
Right.
along the creek. I don't know
Right.
if you saw that.
Well, it goes over a smaller little
Yeah.
creek thing, yeah. So it is a good question about the programmable locks. I imagine it'd be if possible for the conversation.
So, who makes money off this?
Well, it's funded by the New York Power Authority, so it's a state-funded project. And the firm I work for is hired by the Power Authority to basically lead the design process. But it's not a,
So,
yeah,
we still pay the taxes,
taxes on,
that property.
There is no tax, it's town-owned property, so it's tax exempt.
Okay.
I mean, this is just enhancing a park, just like we would enhance any of these parks out back here. We do it for the community.
Right.
right,
Instead of using the town money, you're using Power Authority
exactly.
funds to do this.
Exactly. So thinking about the play area, again, you know, there's kind of different levels of things we can do, and we're gonna have to see how, you know, everything's coming in terms of fitting into the construction budget, but at the very least, like I was talking about, is giving the existing play structure, sort of a new surface below, and then what can we add to that? The picture on the upper right is New York State Park in the Hudson Valley, where you can see, you know, they have structures, they've got, you know, the wood chip safety surfacing, but they've added things like, you know, little log steppers and balancing. They have a little path around the outside that both contains the safety surface and allows kind of a, you know, a track for kids to run around, even planting within that area. There's lots of things you can do. Simple, you know, like the wooden play equipment there that, you know, doesn't take up a lot of room and can really add another element to the play experience for the kids. In addition, the exploration trails, we want to see if we can kind of figure out a way to add that along the shoreline in some areas. This is the adult fitness, so, you know,
Ouch.
well, the idea is that there's varying levels of resistance, of intensity that you can do on this equipment, so it's open to all ages, all abilities. You can see the woman in the wheelchair there. So it's really, we want it to be really as universally usable as possible. And again, located close to the parking lot, on flat ground, you know, easy to get to. So this is what I would call kind of a concept scheme. This is not a design, fully thought out design. This is because we don't want to get to that point without coming to you and hearing it down at it. But this is sort of taking all the things we talked about in terms of programming, putting it on the plan, where could it go, how much room do they take up, and starting to see how things fit in both with topography of the park, how people move around the park, you know, what that circulation path could be. So when we come back in a month or so, hopefully to the Junk Jamboree, we will be bringing something a little bit more developed than this probably, but not a full, you know, set in stone plan, along with a lot of the images that you saw, just to get people's feedback.
Are you still talking about taking the fence off that grass area?
Yes, so you.
That's fine.
Yes, and thank you for raising that, because one thing I hadn't mentioned yet was, so you can see where we were pointing to from the fitness circuit there, is basically where the fence, that fenced off area is.
Okay.
And then the community recreation storage facility, that little rectangle is the same spot as where the shed is currently. So that's another thing we want our engineer to be able to look at is the condition of the shed such that we could potentially reuse it if it was for something as simple as storing, I know there's a fishing equipment lending program at the library, but could we do something like that here where there could be some recreation equipment in the shed, waiters, we were talking about Isaiah, and that was one of the ideas was, you know, having, waiters and things for people to check out, even polls, you know, if you have a family that comes, obviously they need to be licensed, but, having that available to people. Of course, that brings along with it another series of questions. Is it staffed? When is it open? Who maintains it? These are all things that we want to make sure that the town, you know, can support or would want to support. So it's an idea.
Possible, rent it out.
Mm-hmm. it possibly, you know, as a rental space, or if it was deemed that, you know what, this is, not something maybe that, it would be maybe too much to really support, have it, you know, run and maintain as a lending library. Would it be better to see if it'd be possible to use that area as a sort of as a picnic shelter area, or, you know, there's a number of things that we could look at. But I think that'd be another question. I think what I'll do is I'll kind of summarize kind of the key questions we'd like your feedback
Put
on.
like a pavilion there or something maybe instead of that building.
Yeah, yeah, something that would be a little more open and inviting.
Right.
Well, I had canoes, fishing.
Right. That's definitely something that we're thinking about.
So I guess that I'm going to throw this out is, as a board, did you have a vision for this area, knowing that we were coming? Any sidebar discussion that you'd like to share with us? I know that we've taken a little bit more of your time than.
Yeah, sorry, once I get going.
And I know you have a busy. So if you want to email Chris or myself, we've given you cards. You can certainly call us and take stuff back. I'm assuming you are our best point of contact.
Yes.
For any. Okay.
Our highway superintendent or meter wants the keys for everything down there too. So.
Okay. Perfect.
We're the two that can get you into wherever you want to be.
Okay. And we'll coordinate that moving forward. So whatever you want to provide to us for, you know, these events we could see holding there. We've had those internal discussions. Whatever, and obviously anything that we can get from the highway to do, maybe cut trees. Because I'm assuming those dead trees could become a liability for some people too. So,
right.
And we're not going to be in there this year. I know that some of the residents that I've talked to were hoping that we would be constructing the park. They've heard about it this year, which we're obviously not. So.
Right.
But I'll just kick it over to you. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. This is the
We
last
appreciate
slide.
it.
Thank you so much.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
We appreciate this. To see what maybe some of your ideas and everything are, and we can mull it over. And yeah, we would love to have you out here for that the junk jamboree, whatever. That's probably the, if it's a nice day, there will be a lot of the public from town here, so that probably would be a good time to try to get more feedback.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the timing works well for that, about a month from now.
Okay.
And I will put you in contact with a gentleman, Nick Nelson. He is more of our PR person for the Power Authority. So I will reach out to you and get his contact information for you.
And there is power down in the side of that shed right now. There's actually 220 inside there. So.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so I mean, you were talking about charging stations. There is power down there right now.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be another thing that our survey is looking at is what's the electric supply and
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you all very much.
Advertise it all, like we have a local newspaper that we typically advertise in, so if you're gonna be at the jump jamboree,
Yes.
it's worth advertising, you guys would do that?
Yeah,
Yes, and that's where Nick will come in. Yes, yeah. I'll have those conversations with him. He was hoping to make it tonight, but another engagement came for him, so he couldn't make it. But that's where he'll be saying, "Oh yeah, how do I do this? How do I get out there and let people know that we'll be there?" Yes, yep.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you
your
all
time.
again. Appreciate it.
Oh, enjoy the sport.
Yeah.
Take care.
Let's go to assemble. Thank you guys.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I would love that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good picture.
All right, thank you all.
Just watch out for
Have a safe trip.
Thank you.
the cow fences that were like, they hurt.
All right. Now back to the number 7. Requesting town board resolution to approve the regular town board meeting minutes of June 13, 2022. So moved.
Robert.
Yes.
Snail. Yes. Boco. Yes. 5.
Yes. Request a town board resolution to approve the payment of bills from their respective funds.
So moved.
Second.
Robert.
Yes.
Snail. Yes. Boco. Yes. 5.
Yes. Requesting town board resolution to appoint Kaylee Gilfillian as a new town of Hamlin recreation supervisor to fill out the rest of the 2022 yearly term.
You guys disagree on salary?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Robert.
Yes.
Snail. Yes. Boco. Yes. 5.
Yes. Requesting town board resolution for the following budget transfers. From the 1990-40 contingent 8160.4 refuse contractual $10,000. This is for the grinding, the brush grinding that we do every year. Is they, because of the price of fuel and everything, and hauling the chips and everything away, they jumped it up about $11,000 or so from last time. So we figured 5,000 in the budget, we didn't figure 11,000. So we are asking for the 10,000 to move that money there to pay for the brush grinding. And the next one, the 1990.4 contingency to 7110.4 parts contractual, is for we had to put our more wood chips. The wood chips out here on our playground got too low, wasn't really well. The fall distance, whatever, was too great, so we had to add wood chips and just cutting down trees. We had to rent the thing to cut down more gas trees apart for safety concerns. So that's what that money is. So moved.
Second. Robert.
Yes.
Snail. Yes. Boco. Yes. 5.
Yes. I have a couple more that I just received this afternoon, and I'll hand them to you when I get them.
Okay.
Requesting town board resolution to approve services from Zolab Construction as our brush grind people. In the amount of $22,100 for grinding and removal of brush. Grinding services provided through public bid number B22002, monies to be used from refuse accounts AA 8160.4.
So moved.
Second.
Robert.
Yes.
Snail. Yes. Boco. Yes. 5.
Yes. Because there was so much money, we could have a resolution to spend that much money. Another resolution, our highway superintendent sent some equipment to auction. And we have to, okay, they came back, the prices all were fairly good. I just got this afternoon. I will email it all to you guys later on. I can. Request a town board resolution to approve public auction sale prices of the following equipment. 2012 Chevy Silverado, 5,800. 2004 Morris Equipment Trailer, 2,300. 2007 John Deere Rotary Mower, 5,200. 2011 Henderson One-Way Plow, $3,050. And miscellaneous used dump truck parts, $504. I'm sorry.
That's all been sort of on the surplus website.
Yes, and also yeah. But we have to okay, the town board has to okay the prices before we, yeah. So moved.
Robert.
Yes.
Snail. Yes. Boco. Yes. 5.
Yes. That is it for resolution. Discussion. I just had one thing from our assessor. It's kind of a report, but she thought that that town needed to hear about it because everything, our veterans' applications from our auditor turned in. They have started working on the agricultural exemption audit. They'll be sending letters out within the next month with updated information. they're going to go out and start taking photos of all the properties and do data collection so that they can update all the property record files because we're in such bad shape. And our final tax roll for 2022 is being delivered tomorrow. So,
In a public notice of sorts or on the website to let residents know that they will be.
we will. About the pictures? Yeah, we'll put it on the website or whatever. I just got this afternoon also, so we will put that on the website so that if they see people out taking pictures of their houses, they know what's going on.
And the newsletter too would be good.
Yeah.
People will read that.
Right,
Surely.
yeah, we'll give you that, like I said, I just got it this afternoon, so
Put
we'll
it
give you,
out on social media.
we'll give you the information, I'll give you the information.
Okay.
to make people aware.
Otherwise, we get phone calls.
Yep, no,
Or the
understandable.
sheriff's department, right?
Strange people walking around the place taking pictures. That is all that I have. I am going to ask that we go into at 7:53, go into executive session to discuss a personnel issue.
I just got a question
Oh,
before.
okay.
What's the date again for the bids for the sewer project?
7?
The 7th is opening the bids. The 11th is we're going to award them.
I think the public notice said something
Okay.
in the paper.
All right, yeah,
They said the 7th. I don't know what they said the 11th.
Accept them to the 7th. Open them.
we'll be doing that second meeting, yes. Thank you.
I am ready. Well, no, we
Well,
haven't
we gotta
done the, are you guys gonna, I need a resolution.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Robot.